Hey guys, Teresa here. Welcome back to my channel, Lost My Thread. Today I'm going to be reflecting on what I sewed in 2024. At the beginning of the year, I always like to look back at everything I've made over the previous year. I feel like there's always some highlights, some lowlights. There's some things that I can learn from everything that I've made. I feel like for my sewing, I get so much out of it, and I really enjoy different types of projects for different reasons. And so I'm not somebody who would necessarily say like these are my top makes for the year, my top 10 things that I've made. But if I want to consider the different aspects of my sewing, the different things that I get from my sewing, that I want to get from the projects that I make, then I feel like I can put them into categories quite neatly. So it is a Lost My Thread tradition. I have done this now for 4 years, where I look back over the previous year, put different makes into categories, and tell you which are the top makes of each of those. I have everything here on a little hanger behind me or next to me. I actually have 10 garments I'm going to talk about and one other sewing project that I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to get started. The first category I'm calling my most popular make of the year. So this isn't necessarily something that got lots of likes on Instagram. It got a fair amount of likes, but to me it's more about in the day-to-day. So when I show this garment, when I wear this garment in my videos, I get lots of comments from you guys. I also, in my normal going around my life, have a lot of compliments from people, a lot of people who don't even know that I sew, saying that they really like it, asking if they could have one, asking where I got it. It looks like a certain designer that they like. And that is the top that I'm wearing now. This is the Anthea Blouse by Anna Allen. Now I will say this was not my most creative make by any means. So I actually saw this made up as a sample at the Fabric Godmother stall at the Stitch Festival last year. Loved the look of it, decided to get the same fabric, make the same thing, and I am so happy that I did. The Anthea blouse is a really beautiful blouse. There's no darts, it's not very fitted, so it's nice and loose. This is a viscose linen fabric. It's the Riviera blend viscose linen from the Fabric Godmother in their own strawberry print. I love the print on this. I love the colors, the real pop of that vibrant pink of the strawberry. I feel like it's like a vintage but a modern twist. I love that it's cute but not too cutesy, and I feel like it suits this blouse so well. There's gathers at the shoulders, there's gathers at the cuffs. I do really love a good voluminous sleeve, and this is a very voluminous sleeve. I feel like overall, I get why people compliment me on this one. I love styling it in lots of different ways, wearing it with different things. It is such a cute blouse. It's one of my favorites, but definitely I feel like it's the one that most people have gone out of their way to say they really like. The next category I am calling the shortest leap from finished to favorite, and that is this Estuary Skirt by Sew Liberated. I knew I was going to love this skirt before I made it, but it was definitely one of those things that as soon as I finished it, I wanted to put it on, and I couldn't wait every time it was in the wash to get it out and wear it again. I have loved wearing this skirt. It is actually the same fabric as this blouse. It's the Riviera blend viscose linen from the Fabric Godmother, but in this gorgeous chocolate brown color. I knew I had been wanting this type of skirt in my wardrobe. I had made one before, but it was a patterned fabric, and I wanted a solid that I knew would mix and match well with other tops in my wardrobe. I did some planning last year about where I wanted my style to go during Me Made May, and this was the type of skirt that I was pinning over and over again. So I knew I was going to like it, but I feel like I didn't know how much I was actually going to wear it. I also included this in my 10 by 10 wardrobe challenge that I did back in October, and I feel like that really pushed me even more with seeing how I could style this in different ways. This skirt is so beautiful. It's really lovely and full. There are gathers underneath a flat front waistband here, and I feel like that's a really nice chic style. Obviously, it's got a button front as well. The back has an elastic back, so there's gathering here as well as under this waistband, so it looks like all the gathering makes sense, but having the elastic at the back makes it super comfortable. It also has really lovely big roomy pockets. I love the movement of this fabric, the flow of this fabric. I did think I wanted a skirt like this in my wardrobe, but I didn't know that I was going to love it as much as I did. It is easily a firm favorite, and I feel like the second I came off my sewing machine, I knew it was a winner. Next, we have my most surprising make, and that is this March dress by Helen's Closet. Now, I did think that I would probably like this one, but I was a bit unsure because there is no waist shaping. As you can see, guys, it is mahoosive around the waist. And I am somebody that generally really likes to have a bit of shaping because I feel like otherwise I'm kind of in a sack. This fabric is a gorgeous Indian block print fabric that I got from the Knitting and Stitching show. It was the Knitting and Stitching show. There's all these shows, hard to keep track. I really do love the colors of it. I love the print on it. It's another one that's got some like more bold colors than I think you would expect on this type of style. It's so gorgeous. It's incredibly lightweight. So it's very like a cotton lawn kind of thing, cotton batiste, and is amazing on a hot day. It is the best thing I love wearing on a hot day because it doesn't touch me at all, doesn't cling to anywhere, but this fabric is so light, it basically feels like you're wearing nothing at all. But I love so many of the style details of this as well. So again, got a nice gather on the sleeve cuff. I am a fan of a statement sleeve, as you can tell. There's some really nice like yoke detailing on this. I like the bit of gathering on the skirt. There's a good big roomy pocket on here. I like these ties. It's just a nice pretty detail hanging down there. And I will say, because this fabric is so lightweight, though there isn't any real shaping at the waist, I feel like it does enough of cascading down my body so that it doesn't just look like I'm wearing a sack. And in all honesty, even if it does, it is so comfortable, I don't even care. But this is another one that I included in my 10 by 10 wardrobe challenge, and it was interesting to see how I like this one layered up in different ways, and it surprised me that I could even wear it in the colder months as long as I was layering it well. So this one surprised me, one, by being such a favorite despite it being so non-shaped, and also surprised me at being so versatile that I've actually been able to wear it throughout different seasons. I do want to make the March dress again. I really do think it is fantastic for an Indian block print fabric, and I have an idea for a hack that I might do with this pattern in the spring. But for now, I'm very much loving this one. I'm so glad I made it, and it is definitely a big hit in my wardrobe. I definitely wanted to include my most worn make of the year because as much as I enjoy the sewing process, and I do it largely for the process, I also want to be making things that I'm actually going to wear and things that I'm going to love for years to come. And number one this year was definitely these Jude jeans by Closet Core Patterns. These are made in a stretch needle cord fabric. I feel like the fit, the style is absolutely spot on. I really do love them. These are the boot cut versions. There's different versions of these trousers, and this is the one with the patch pocket as well on the front. So there's some with like proper inset pockets. I really like the patch pocket. I feel like it's that kind of 70s style that works really well with the corduroy. I feel like I've always been somebody who lent more towards corduroy rather than denim jeans. I like the style, and I just feel like they're so comfortable. These are just so easy to throw on. The color is fantastic, going with so many different things in my wardrobe. I'm never surprised when I see season after season, this is what I've been wearing the most. It's definitely one that I reach for so often. I'm going to get more of these in my life, the Jude jeans, because they are such a big favorite for me. But this pair in particular, they are just so good. I've also included what I feel is my best pattern hack of the year, and that is this Myosotis dress by Deer and Doe. So this is also in a stretch needle cord fabric. I really do love this type of fabric for winter. I think needle cord is perfect for a winter dress. Because it has some stretch, I did end up having to take a little bit in on the darts in the bust area because it was a bit looser than I had intended it to be. But I will say that probably the darts aren't sitting quite where they should be, especially because I've gained a little bit of weight since I made this. Still though, guys, it fits wonderfully. I really do love the overall look of it. Now the hacks that I did and why it isn't just a straight up version, I did go with the full mandarin collar here. For the sleeves, I actually made it a long sleeve. There's not a long sleeve version of this dress. So what I ended up doing was a mashup between the Byrdie Button Up Blouse by Pattern Scout, took that sleeve, put it onto here, and I feel like it worked really well. I also made it button down completely rather than just buttoning down to the top of this bodice, just to make it a little bit easier to get on and off. I extended the pockets on this one because the pockets on this original version are way too short. Your phone doesn't even stay in your pockets. Keys are going to fall out. But now that I've extended the pockets, I feel like it is the perfect winter dress. I feel like it's a great silhouette. The color, this petrol blue, I really love, and I think it's a really great color for me. It feels just really beautiful. It feels really feminine, and it is something that I would definitely love to try again. I think it was a fantastic, successful hack. Now, it is one thing to hack a pattern, make some small adjustments to make it your own, and it is something else entirely when you have a vision of a garment that you would like to make, but you cannot find a pattern out there that fits it, and you somehow still make it happen. Now, that for me is what this jumpsuit is. It is my most creatively satisfying project of the year. The top of it is the Anthea Blouse, so same as the strawberry blouse that you saw before, though I did lower the neckline on this one. The bottom is the Ferris jumpsuit by Jennifer Lauren Handmade, which I have made before. Both of them I'd made, both of them I knew I liked the general fit of, but it did take a bit of work to figure out, what exact length I wanted this bodice to be. I didn't know fully if it was going to work, if I was going to like the look of these two together. but I really do. I am so in love with this jumpsuit. So there is a drawstring at the waist, which makes it really easy to get on and off to go to the bathroom. There are some buttons on the top, so again, not hard to get in and out of. It has these gorgeous Anna Allen Anthea Blouse sleeves, because you know I love these sleeves. I feel like it works so well with the full wide leg of the trouser as well. This fabric is a viscose twill fabric that I got from Sew Sunshine. I really do love this fabric so, so much. It wasn't super soft when I bought it, but as soon as I washed it, everything kind of fell out. It got really nice and smooth and soft. It feels super silky. It moves incredibly well. It definitely has a bit of that 70s touch as well. I feel like this jumpsuit is kind of like the epitome of what I was looking for when I was planning my Me Made May Dream wardrobe. I came up with my words for what I felt my wardrobe, what I wanted my wardrobe to be, which was early autumn, late 70s art college crush. And I feel like this is absolutely nailing that. I feel incredible in this jumpsuit. It is so much fun to wear. It is so comfortable to wear. And it just feels really me. It's really such a satisfying project. And I'm so glad that I made it. I did make a whole tutorial about how to mash two patterns together to make a jumpsuit, particularly how I did it with these. And I'll put a link to that up here and down below if you're curious. But I do feel like it was just a really big, successful project, and it was fun to stretch my creative muscles a bit as well. Now, sometimes sewing goes smoothly, sometimes there are bumps along the road, but I feel like it's really important for me to notice and pay attention and appreciate, shine some light on the garment that I feel like has the best finishing details. And that is this Olia shirt by Paper Theory. Now, this isn't necessarily the neatest finish of all, but I feel like there were just so many bits of it that were coming together so smoothly. It was one of those times where the stars aligned, all of my corners turned out really neatly, the top stitching thread that I picked popped in such a fantastic way. The buttons that I chose, they're just a little bit muted, which allows the fabric to really shine. This fabric is a yarn dyed cotton fabric from Blackbird Fabrics. It's got teal and raspberry pink, and I feel like those colors show a bit more or less depending on how the light hits it. It is such a beautiful fabric, and I feel like this really did show it off in the best possible way. There are lots of beautiful design details on this shirt anyway, but it doesn't always go that well. But every time I put this on, I'm always just so happy when I look at the little details, the threads, the buttons, the pleats lining up well. It's just one of those where it has the most sleek, ready to wear look of all the things that I've made this year. I always feel great when I'm wearing it. I wear it sometimes unbuttoned, layered over things as well. I wear it sometimes tied up at the waist. It's definitely really versatile. It's really cute, and it just makes me feel good whenever I look at it. Now, like I said, sometimes things go smoothly in sewing and sometimes they just do not, despite our best efforts. And so I think it's really important to share my most challenging make of the year, which is easily this Belemnite dress by Marilla Walker in silk velvet. Now, this was a dress that I had planned to make for Christmas. If you watched my Vlogmas videos, you would have watched the process. I made a full bust adjustment on this pattern before I even started. I made a muslin and calico. Generally was pretty happy, but made some minor fit adjustments. I then made a version in viscose twill to make sure I was definitely happy with the drape of that type of fabric, to make sure that I was going to be happy with where everything was sitting. Absolutely loved that version. Felt really confident going in and cutting into the silk velvet. And it was trouble from the start. So I noticed even when I was cutting it out, of course it was shifting. I knew it was going to be shifting around a lot, but I noticed that I got what I'm calling velvet burn, where I basically got like irritation on the side of my finger from rubbing against all the little short little hairs that came off as I was trimming this down. As I was sewing, I feel like I had every problem you can have, you know, so the silkiness of it was making it just fall and move as I was going through the sewing machine. It was like trying to sew water, and it was shifting all around. With a million pins, it was shifting all around. But because of the velvet, at times it was gripping and then pulling and not going through the feed dogs evenly. I used a walking foot. I tried sewing with tissue paper. I did hand basting. I did all the things, guys, and it was still so challenging. It is not a good fabric to unpick. This neckline, as you will see, it does not sit straight. It's a V that's a little bit off to the side. It was a lot worse. I did manage to unpick with great difficulty. When you try to unpick this fabric, the whole thing just like falls apart and shreds to pieces. So I knew that I had basically one shot to try and get it right, and I didn't always get it right. I wasn't going to be so fussed, honestly, because I went to such efforts to make it. I feel like this fabric, it is amazing. As far as feeling it, it feels wonderful. It moves wonderfully. The color of it is just like next level. The bow is just gorgeous. I added elastic cuffs at the sleeves to make it more practical so that I could wear it more often because I felt really excited about this dress. I think the fit, the shape, the silhouette are absolutely beautiful. But guys, it then tore on Christmas. This fabric tore apart. So this dress is brought to you by safety pins. That's how I'm able to wear this one to show you guys today. Overall, I feel like it was just not a successful make. Like I said, despite all my best efforts, trying all the tricks that I had in the book, sometimes things don't go to plan. This one brought me challenge after challenge, but I will say perseverance, patience, I got through it, and I'm happy that I did, and I felt amazing on Christmas until the very end of the day when I noticed there was a little bit of a hole in my dress. But nevertheless, I'm glad that I made it, and I'm glad I pushed through those challenges because sewing is not always easy, but I still really enjoy trying to problem solve and work through the process. But yeah, if you want to see a lady challenged by some sewing, check out the Vlogmas videos where I shared the painful times making this dress. And moving on then from my biggest challenge of the year onto my most disappointing project of the year, which is this Florence dress by Sew Over It. Now, the thing that is the most disappointing about this is that it is just so close to being a really beautiful dress. I love the fabric. This is a Sister Mintaka's own viscose fabric. It's such a fun and vibrant print. I feel like the colors are really good. I just feel like it's a little bit outside of my comfort zone in a way that's really fun. I was really looking forward to making this up, and when I put it on, I actually really do love so much about it. But it's definitely a no-go for me. And the main issue comes in this section. So the bodice is definitely too small. I needed to do a full bust adjustment. I didn't do it. I made a mistake. What can you do? Live and learn, guys. I had to put a million buttons on here just to be able to close it up. And I don't love the way the million buttons look. Even still, I took some of the side seam out, the arm seam out, and it is just too tight, way too tight across the bust. Upper back area, I can barely move when I try and stretch forward. Even the sleeves, everything feels just like a little bit too tight. The neck, if I was going to button this up, it feels like it's strangling me. I just feel like all in all, this portion of the bodice is just bad. Shorter at the front than it is at the back because everything's pulling up. Now, I have kept this as it is because I wanted to show it to you guys in this video, but this is not going to be staying as it is. The top is getting chopped off. It is going to be turned into a skirt. I have struggled to get this dress off because of how tight it is in this area. It's a really awful feeling really claustrophobic when I'm trying to take this off. And I'm really happy that this is the last time I'm going to be wearing this. And that means that I can actually cut it off today rather than having to try to pull it over my shoulders. I know it's a dramatic thing to do, but trust me, guys, it was so awkward to put this thing on. I know I'm going to be trimming this down to a skirt, so I'm just going to go right ahead and chop it up. I am wearing a top underneath. As much as this was the most disappointing thing to make, I feel like being able to just pull this thing off like this is one of the most satisfying things that I can do. This is definitely going to make a better skirt than it did a dress, and I'm hoping with some of the scraps left over I can make a matching top and get a cute little two-piece. Now, like all of us who sew, I make a lot of garments, which also means I make a lot of scraps. And I think it's really important to try and save those scraps, use them up as best I can. And I feel like I want to share my favorite scrap buster of the year, which is this jacket. This is the West End jacket for Peppermint Magazine, designed by Cami Made Patterns. You can get this pattern for free, or you can make a donation to Peppermint Magazine. Now, this was a scrap busting extravaganza. These are all corduroy scraps going all the way around from different projects. So all of these bits will match other things that I have. So this is going to be the same, as you can see, as the Jude jeans that I'm wearing now. I've got a pinafore dress made out of this, trousers made out of this, a bag made out of this and this. I feel like it was such a fun one to put together. I actually added some additional design lines so that I could have a yoke at the front. I made an extra slit here, an extra seam here so that I could add a little bit of extra color on there. Part of it, frankly, was trying to use up the shape of scraps that I had, but I feel like it looks very intentional. I feel like it looks super cool. I wasn't sure if I would wear this or if it would end up feeling a little bit wild and over the top, and honestly, I've worn it a ton. I was surprised. It's a really good weight, so it's kind of like a denim jacket kind of weight, denim jacket kind of style, but it's definitely really comfortable. It feels super cool. It's definitely one of those things that I feel like, yes, it's scrappy, but it just looks like that's how it's meant to be. And that is, to me, the best way to use up scraps. Make them feel fresh, make them feel like something new, and that is just such a good example. I hope it inspires some of you guys to use up some of your scraps as well. And last but certainly not least is my favorite project of the year, which is not on this rack because it wouldn't fit on this rack because it's a quilt. This is the Standing Tall quilt by Cedar Quilt Co. This is a free pattern if you're interested in trying it out. I love the modern look of it. I love the way it came together. This is made using jelly rolls, pre-cuts, which makes the whole cutting process a lot easier. Now this is a king size quilt, so I'm not going to pretend that it was a quick, easy project. But for a quilt, I feel like it was fairly reasonable and quick to come together. This is the Ruby Star Society Pixel fabric designed by Rashida Coleman Hale. I really love the vibrant colors that are all over this against that cream background. Some of these colors are definitely the kinds of colors that I would have in my wardrobe, and some of them are just a little bit more vibrant than I would usually go for. And that is the fun of quilts, is you can just use whatever fabric you like the look of without worrying about how it would look against your skin tone. Now, I like the bright colors that you can see on the rectangles, but as you get closer, you also can see pops of other colors. So there are little pixels with other pops of color on there, which I think is just so much fun. The backing fabric is a Dashwood Studio fabric, so they're not designed to go together. This one has these cute psychedelic clouds all over it, but I feel like these colors were made for each other. They definitely look like they were meant to be together, and it worked out so beautifully. I did a fun pattern with the stitching on the back with the quilting, so it's not just straight lines. I've got this cute little zigzag thing, which I feel like works well if it's not necessarily perfectly on the lines on the front. This quilt was definitely a mammoth project. I actually made it as a quilt along with my friend Sarah of Sew Sarah Sewed. I will put a link to the playlist of the videos where we both chatted and updated on our quilts and encouraged other people to join us, shared other versions of other people's quilts as well. I put the link up here and down below. But this for me was such a highlight of the year. I have loved being able to cuddle underneath this on my bed. There is nothing like laying under a quilt that you made for yourself to feel like you are cloaking yourself, covering yourself in love. It's a wonderful feeling. I really am so proud of this quilt. It took a lot. It was definitely an intense project, but it was so worth it. Quilts are one of those things that you don't just make a quilt and then, use it a few times. This quilt is going to be in my life for years and years to come, and it is such a delight, something I'm so, so proud of, and definitely my favorite make this year. I always feel really good looking back at everything that I have achieved over the past year with my making, whether it's the highs or the lows, the goods or the bads. I think it's so important to draw some attention on those things and really just give ourselves a little bit of a pat on the back of everything that we've achieved over the past year. I would love to hear if any of the categories that I've mentioned made you think of any particular garments that stood out to you. Please feel free to leave Instagram links down in the comments or send me email so I can see photos of some of your top makes of the year. I really think we should all be proud of everything that we've made, particularly the challenges, honestly, that we've managed to push through. Those are the things that I feel the most proud of. But overall, it was such a great year. It was great to do a quick roundup with you guys and show you some of my highs and lows. If you did enjoy the video, as always, please do give it a like. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel if you want to see upcoming videos. And let's see what 2025 brings. See you soon. Bye.